Hi everyone and welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Michaela and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you like what you see so far. Hey girl, how are you? I hope you're doing well. In today's video, if you read the title, we are doing a chit chat. Get ready with me to do this pinky makeup look right here. And I'm gonna tell you all about my birth story. I'm gonna give you all the 411, the details, the info, everything. I have been loving doing my makeup this way. I just think the pinkiness of it complements my hair so well. So if you haven't seen where I colored my hair this burgundy reddish color, definitely go back on one video. I show you guys how I did the whole process and everything that I used. Here is a little close-up. So if you guys are like me and you're loving how this makeup look turned out, the blush is just so tea, the lip, chef's kiss, everything. Definitely stay tuned for the next video. Turn your post notifications on, girl. You're not gonna wanna miss the next video. Okay, but no, let's get into today's video. I really hope you guys enjoy my birth story. If you guys have any further questions or anything I didn't touch on or things you may wanna know, just leave me a question or comment down below or shoot me a DM on Instagram. Let's go. I'll see y'all in a second. Okay girls, let's get right into it. I'm so excited to finally be filming this video for you guys. I did go ahead and do my brows off camera. I do have a mini tutorial on how I do my brows on my TikTok and Instagram. All of my socials are always linked in the description box, so keep up with me over there. We also have a visitor, but we're not even gonna talk about her. We're just gonna cover her up, okay? Okay, I'm so excited to finally be telling you guys my birth story. Okay, so I do have my mirror here, so if you see me looking down, it's just I'm looking at myself, obviously. It is currently 5:26 a.m. So your girl got some coffee. So grab your coffee, grab your breakfast, grab whatever you're about to drink, and let's chit chat. Okay, let's get into it. Let's go back to circa 2022, September of 2022 to be exact. So let's go over the basics. My daughter's due date was September 22nd, 2022. And yes, this story, is a little old, but it's something that I replay in my brain time and time again, and it is just something I will never ever forget. So I just have to share it with you guys, and it's almost like a digital diary. Like, she can watch this video when she gets older, I can watch this video. Anybody who has ever had any questions about my birth is going to be able to watch this video. So yeah, September 2022, it was a Tuesday. It was September the 13th. I woke up around 8 a.m. that morning. I had a doctor's appointment at 10 a.m. and where I was living at the time, I lived about an hour away from my OB. And when I woke up, I did feel like a little discomfort. I did feel like mild cramping. But at this point, I was just so exhausted and big and ready to pop that everything kind of hurt at this point, so I really didn't think too much of it. And I had been feeling, some discomfort for the last couple of weeks. So I just got up as normal, and the way my appointments were set up at this point, because I was so far along in my pregnancy, I was going to the doctor weekly, and I changed weeks on Thursdays. So this week I'm going for my 38-week checkup, and it is at the end. So I believe I was 38 weeks and 5 days on this Tuesday, September the 13th. So I go to the doctors, and at this point, the doctor's appointments are very redundant. They take forever. I get there, I use the bathroom, get the pee sample. I wait in the room for what seems like forever. I want to say like 45 minutes. She checks my daughter's heartbeat, asks me if I have any questions, and I am free to go. All of that for what? And when she did check my cervix, she did say that I was not dilated at all. So the cramping and, the discomfort that I was feeling was completely normal. I'm just at the end of my pregnancy. And like I said, everything kind of hurts. So me and her both did not think anything of it, and I just went about my day. I actually had a travel client for brows, and I just needed to kill some time for my doctor's appointment and her brow appointment. So I decided to kill some time at Marshall's. I headed over there just to see, what they had, pick up any last minute things that I may need or that my daughter needed. I found myself kind of like having to stop in the aisles because like the cramping was kind of like increasing. I kept having to like put my hand on my hip and like kind of breathe through it. And I was like, okay, maybe these are like Braxton Hicks. Like this is something, I felt before, but like these were a little bit more. So I was like, okay, let me just, take that into consideration. Obviously, I just left the doctor's appointment. She didn't say anything. I should be fine, right? Or so I thought. So I get whatever I need to get at Marshall's. I go to my client, and during her appointment, I just find myself like having to stop and like put my hands on the counter. And at one point, I even like just rested my hand on her head, and I was like, ooh, girl. I was like, I don't know what this is. I was like, I don't know if these are contractions or what. Like, I worked my entire pregnancy, y'all. I was on my feet non-stop. Mind you, I'm 39 weeks pregnant, still taking clients and travel clients at that. Like, I have a bag. I've got all my tools, all my products, everything. You know what I mean? So your girl was working, okay? After that, I finished her brows. I was able to get through her appointment. I am free to do whatever I want to do. And at this point, I want to say it's probably like 2 o'clock. So I go home and I'm honestly just chilling for the rest of the day. And it felt like the contractions or Braxton Hicks or whatever I thought they were at the time had like paused. If you have a child or if you're pregnant and you are close to the end of your pregnancy, you kind of know that like sleep doesn't really exist at this point. So I'm just up. This particular night, I could just not fall asleep. The contractions started to pick up. So prior in that day, I want to say the contractions were at like a 1. At this point, I'm at like 2.5, 3-ish. Like they're picking up, I can feel them. And so around like 2:30, I downloaded a contraction timer app to my phone. I'm laying in bed, haven't been to sleep. And I'm like, okay, you know what? Let me just stay up since I can't sleep at all. Let me just stay up and time these contractions. And I'll put up a picture of what I was like keeping track of and what I was recording. So I stayed up until about 6:30-ish a.m. just tracking these contractions. And on average, they were about every 7 to like 8 minutes. Sometimes they came like every 5 minutes. But they only lasted about like a minute each time. Now we're into Wednesday. About 7 a.m., I went into my grandma's room. I'm like, hey, I've been timing these contractions. I'm like, I think I need to go to the hospital and just see what they say. Because mind you, I wasn't dilated yesterday, but I don't know what can happen, within this time span. She's like, okay, let's go. So we get in the car, and like I said, I live about an hour away from my OB, and my OB is actually connected to the hospital that I delivered at. So it was super convenient. I got there around, I want to say like 8:15, 8:30. They took me straight back. They could see that, I was in pain, and they took me to triage. They hooked me right up. They put the belly band on, gave me an IV, and they were like, okay, we see you're contracting, but we're going to keep you and just monitor you, and somebody will be in to check you in a minute. The nurse comes in and she's like, hey, I'm going to go ahead and check you and just see where you're at. Like I said, they could see I'm contracting on the monitor, and obviously I'm in pain. On a scale of 1 to 10 now, the contractions are probably about like a 4. So I'm still managing, I'm still breathing, and I'm getting through. But I just wanted to see, if anything was happening. So she checks me. She's like, no, you're not dilated. She was like, but we are going to keep you just in case you do start to dilate. That way you'll already be here. And, if we need to keep you overnight or admit you for real, you're here. So I stayed there until about 2 o'clock. I got there at about 8:30-ish, and I stayed there until about 2 p.m. And I never dilated. I never started dilating, nothing. So the nurse came in and she was like, "We are going to send you home." And I never talked to my OB this entire time that I'm there. Like I said, her office is connected to the hospital that I'm literally at. I was just at the doctor's office yesterday and I never talked to her. I was only talking to the nurses. So I was like, okay, well, can you call her? Because like, how am I supposed to get through this whole week? It's literally September 14th. My due date is not to the 22nd. I'm just supposed to sit in this pain for this long? No, there's no way. So she's like, yeah, I'll go ahead and call her. She was like, and just see, what she says. And I'm like, all right, thank you. And I just want to point this out, y'all. I do not get sick. I have never had any major surgeries. I just knew I was going to be the worst patient, okay? I don't like hospitals. I don't do none of that stuff, okay? Unless I have to, God forbid. So I really wasn't trying to be like a bitch, but hello. Okay. She comes back into the room and she's like, so I'm going to do one last check on you. And then based on that check would be the final decision whether they send me home or they kept me. So she goes to do this final check, you guys. And I strongly believe in my soul, my gut, my heart, that this nurse did a membrane sweep on me and did not tell me. Because when I tell you guys, she checked me and I felt my body rise up out of that bed. It hurt so bad. It hurt so bad. And it was longer than all of the checks I have had. Mind you, you get checked very frequently when you're pregnant. Every time you're going to the doctor, you start out going like 4 weeks, 3 weeks, 2 weeks, and then you're at like, going to the doctor every week. You get checked like very frequently. This was like none other check that I have had. So I really strongly believe that she did a membrane sweep and just did not tell me, did not warn me that she was about to do that. And it hurt so bad, like to the point where I was on the verge of tears. And she was like, I know. She was kind of talking me through it, but like, girl, what did you just do to me? And she was like, so yeah, unfortunately, you're not dilated. And at this point, I'm just upset. So I'm like ready to go. So it's like 2:45. I finally get discharged and everything by like 4, which I don't know why it took so long. I'm on my way home. I decided to stop and get some Chick-fil-A, but like the contractions never stopped, y'all. They're still going. So I'm doing all of this, leaving in the car, trying to get food. I never slept the entire time. I haven't eaten. So I stopped at Chick-fil-A thinking, okay, maybe I'll just get some food and I'll just go home and relax and just see, where this goes. Y'all, I lie to you not. I couldn't even eat the food. I was in so much pain. The contractions are honestly at like a 6.5 now. And I am just like, what am I supposed to do? Like they just send me home. I was just like in disbelief that I had to go through this right now. And like, you're basically telling me like she's not coming yet, but like I can feel her coming. So it's like, what? I ended up just being like, all right, bump the food. I'm gonna go try to take a shower. It's probably like 7 p.m. now. So I'm like, all right, I'm just gonna take a shower. I'm thinking, okay, maybe I'll even run a bath. Like I'll just let the hot water, hit my back. That's another thing. I had no contractions in the front of my body. Nothing in my pelvic area, nothing below my stomach. Like everything was in my back, which what I found out later was I had back labor, which is actually very on brand for me because when I have period cramps, they're always in my back. Always. I never have period cramps in my stomach. Let me knock on some wood. So yeah, everything was on my back. So I'm like, okay, let me get in the shower. Let me let the hot water or the bath water or whatever I was about to do hit my back. I'm like, let me just keep moving, let me just do something. I can't like sit around. I can't lay here. I'm in too much pain. So I get in the shower and I'm in the shower for probably like a good hour, y'all. I'm just standing there with like my hand on the wall, just like letting the water hit my back. Like I put it on jet. You know, you can turn your shower to like different water pressures. I had that on jet, hitting my lower back. And it seemed to be helping, honestly. So I get out of the shower and it felt like the contractions started to like ease up a little bit. So I ended up just laying down on the bed in my towel. And I definitely did end up falling asleep for probably like 45 minutes. It's probably around 9 o'clock. And the way my bed was set up, I had my bed, and then at the edge of my bed was a couch. And so the arm of the couch was like looking over the top of my mattress. I got dressed, put my pajamas on, and I went to like officially lay down. But y'all, the contractions at this point were overbearing. They were probably a good 9 out of 10. I pretty much just like held on to the arm of the couch, and I had my knees on my mattress, and I'm just kind of like rocking back and forth, breathing and just like putting pressure on my back. Like I'm just holding my back, and I'm just kind of like going through the motions. I'm just laboring at home. So the time is probably about 10:30 now. I probably stayed like that on my bed and couch for an hour, hour and a half. I was just pacing myself and breathing and trying to move my body. I'm thinking, okay, maybe she's sitting like super low on my back. Like maybe I just need to move her. Maybe I need to rock. Maybe I need to get her in like more position. She needs to descend. I'm just like all in my head at this point. So around like 10:45, my grandma is talking to me and she's like, you know, Michaela, like this is not good. Like I don't want to see you in this pain anymore. She's like, maybe you should call your doctor back. And I'm like, no, like I was there. Like she sent me home. I don't like, there's no reason for me to go back. And she's like, no, like this is different. Like you weren't like this earlier. I get up, go to the bathroom. I call my doctor. At this point, I'm in tears and I'm talking to my doctor. My OB's name is Dr. Jones. I'm talking to her and I'm like, hey, you know I was there earlier, but like I am in so much pain and I'm crying. And she's like, oh no, Michaela, like you don't sound good. Like, can you please get back here? And I'm like, okay. I'm like, I'm on the way. It's going to take me like an hour. I really did not think I could sit in that car for another hour ride without giving birth. I thought I was really going to give birth in the car. There's actually another hospital about 12 minutes from where I was living at the time, and I was really on the verge of telling my OB like, meet me there, or somebody's gonna deliver this baby there. But I was like, you know what, let me just get to the hospital. I think I can do it. I'm just gonna try to like hold it as much as I possibly can. We get in the car, it's about 11, and I'm hugging the back of the chair. So I'm turned around, so my backside is facing the windshield, and I'm holding on to the back of the chair, still doing this like rocking motion. And shout out to my grandma. Grammy, if you ever see this video, you did that, okay? My grandma was doing 95 the whole way. And what is so funny is because I'm turned backwards, right? I can see everything from like the back window. There was a cop doing radar or sitting like in the cut somewhere. He ends up pulling out behind my grandma's car. Like I said, my grandma is flying. I look over at her and I said, Grammy, if this cop turns on his lights, you do not stop. I said, you turn on them hazards and you keep going. She was like, oh, I know. I'm gonna get you there. I got it. She was so calm through the whole thing. I just literally thank her so much because she helped me tremendously and she doesn't even know it. So we get to the hospital. The time is now probably like closer to midnight at this point. So we are at Thursday. Remember, all of this started on like Tuesday. It is now Thursday. And like I said, I do change weeks every Thursday. So now I am officially 39 weeks pregnant to the date. I waddle into the ER and I'm like, hey, I'm in pain. I'm about to have a baby. And y'all, why does this lady make me sit down and go through all of my information? Mind you, I was there earlier. I was already in pain then. They kind of just put me through We don't have time for this, okay? This lady asked me for my ID, of course, asked me for my insurance card, of course. And she asked me for my address, and she's like, well, that's not the address on your ID, so we're gonna go ahead and update that for you. And I'm like gripping the handles of the chair so hard that I could have picked that chair up and flung it at her. Like, ma'am, right now, we have to do this right now. You can see I'm about to have a baby. I'm going to be here. Can we do this later? No, obviously not, because she just keeps going. Finally, somebody brings me a wheelchair. Thank you, God. They wheeled me back to triage. I was in the same room that I was in earlier, just a different bed. And the ladies were super sweet back there. They ended up giving me a gown, and they're like, hey, you know, can you go to the bathroom and like put your gown on? And I'm like, yeah. I get the rest of my stuff. I go to the bathroom. And y'all, I was in there for a little minute, okay? They had to come check on me. But that's because, one, I'm having contractions. I can barely stand. I'm gripping onto the rail. I felt like I had to go number 2. So I'm sitting down on the toilet, but I'm trying to get undressed. But every time I go to get undressed, a contraction happens. I like lose what I'm doing. Like my body just like tenses up, and I like trying to sit there through the contractions, and I can't even worry about getting dressed. Finally, I get my stuff off, I get the gown on, and I, come out and I get on the bed. There's 2 nurses that are back there. The one nurse is like the head nurse in charge, and then there was another girl who was like shadowing her or like in training. And the main nurse is like, okay, like we're gonna go ahead and check you. So I'm like, all right. So I'm laying on the bed. She goes to check me. She checks me, and all I can remember her doing is going to the other nurse. Mind you, I'm laying back, knees up, legs open, ready for my check, and what's going on? So she looks over to the other nurse who is in training, shadowing her or what have you, and she's like, so I want you to go ahead and check her now. So the other girl, she goes in, checks me. She looks at the main nurse and she goes, she's about a 9. Excuse me? Excuse me? When I tell y'all my head rose up off that bed so fast, bumper contraction. I lied to y'all not. Time paused in that moment, and I said, 9 what? They looked at me like I had 5 heads. The main nurse just looked at me and goes, you ready to have a baby? Finally, somebody who sees me, who acknowledges my pain. That's all I needed to hear. It's go time. It's go time. I also do want to point out that my water never broke. I'm not really sure if I lost my mucus plug. I want to say if I did, I didn't really notice. The only thing I think I saw was like a week prior, and it was just this little thing when I got up from using the bathroom. And I honestly just was like, oh, okay. As long as it wasn't blood or like fluid, I wasn't really worried about it, honestly. So that just passed. Now I'm 39 weeks, having contractions. Now I'm here. Let's go. That's when it really like all like hit me. I'm crying, and she's like, it's gonna be okay. She was like, we have a room right down here for labor and delivery. She's like, can you walk? And I'm like, yeah, I can walk. Let's go. They tell me where to go. They bring all of the stuff, and we go into this labor and delivery room. I'll also insert a picture of that because that's literally the only picture that I ended up taking. Now it's probably about like 2 a.m. At this point, I felt like I had to throw up. Mind you, I never even ate since like Tuesday. So throw up what? They did give me a barf bag. So I'm just sitting there waiting for my daughter to like just fully get me to a 10 so I can go ahead and get this girl out. So around like 3 a.m., I'm all hooked up with the belly band. I have an IV, and the main nurse from before comes in and she's like, hey, the anesthesiologist is on this floor. This is gonna be like your last chance to get the epidural. And y'all, if you know me, I wanted to have a natural birth so bad. So bad. Because I had started laboring on a Tuesday and it is now Thursday, I am exhausted. And the amount of pain and just trauma that I have endured in such a short span of time, honestly, like you gotta think, this is like a 9 or like 9. I'm not really sure. Don't quote me. But like going from Zero. And then this in a matter of hours by myself at home. Give me the epidural. Give it to me. And no shade to the moms who get it very early on, who are at the hospital, who get the epidural at like 3-4 centimeters. Because if I was there, I probably would have got it at that point too. Okay, but I was at home. I didn't really have no choice. Not to mention, I'm all by myself, alone, and I'm scared. I'm literally terrified. So yes, I did opt to get the epidural at the last minutes. The doctor who did my epidural was super, super nice. She talked me through it. You have to wait until you're having a contraction, and she was very patient with me, and she didn't rush me. You gotta like bend over on the pillow, and I was squeezing that nurse's hand. She took it like a G. So I get the epidural, and now I'm just honestly chilling. My grandma's in the room with me. Now my child's father is in the room with me. It's about 4 a.m. Honestly, I could only feel the epidural on my left side. So they did end up telling me like, hey, you can push it to increase it, but you can only do it like every 15 minutes or so. So I ended up pushing it one time, and then I could feel it more on my right side, but I could still feel like a lot more pain on my right side than my left. My left was pretty much completely numb. I did tell them that, but they never really did anything about it. Like they didn't think I needed like a second round of epidural, or, you know, they just told me to like increase it if needed. And they also did end up breaking my water. And that honestly was just like a gush of water. Like it just felt like I peed on myself, and they changed, you know, all of like the padding and the bedding. Everything is kind of like a blur after that point, because that's when everything just started happening super duper fast. So now it's like 4:30 a.m. and water is broke, catheter is in, epidural is given. And I want to say at this point, I finally got some sleep. But even then, I feel like I only slept for like 30, 45 minutes, because then they came in and they gave me the peanut ball. So the peanut ball is just to help you like expand a little bit and like help your baby descend. And when I tell you that peanut ball worked like magic, oh yeah. Okay, so I had the peanut ball for probably 45 minutes to an hour, and they came in and checked me, and your girl was at a 10. And I also do think the epidural did stall my labor just a little bit. I do think if I didn't get the epidural, she would have came down a lot faster on her own, but it's all in God's timing. She came when she was ready to come. So at about 6:30, I felt like a instant amount of pressure in my butt. So I told the nurse, I was like, hey, like I have this pressure. Can you please go get my doctor? So she's like, yeah, I'll go call for her. Like I said, my doctor's office is connected to the hospital. Why my doctor wasn't in the building already, if she knows that I'm in labor, is unbeknownst to me. I don't care if you have one patient in here or 15. You get over here, okay? Because I really feel like it took her like 20 minutes to come to my room. And it really might have been like 5. But like, hello, I need to push. We need to go now. Finally, Dr. Jones walks in my room at about 6:38. And I want to say I pushed for all of 10 minutes. I did like 3 sit-ups, and I like stayed in that position, and I would go 1, 2, 3, 4 all the way to 10, release a little bit, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, release a little bit, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And I feel like I did that and held for all of 10 minutes. Maybe like, let me sit up, 3, 6, 9, maybe 9, 10 pushes. And at 6:47 a.m. on September 15th, Lane Bell Jenkins was born. That low-key makes me so emotional, because she's literally about to be 3 years old now. And this story just never gets old. It was just such a surreal experience. It literally just felt like she just like fell out. Like it was just her time to come. And all I could just hear was, I could hear her dad just like counting and just encouraging me at the time and just being like, oh my gosh, you got it, you got it, you got it. He was counting 1, 2, 3, 4, push, push, push. All I could hear was, she's here, it's her birthday. Mind you, my eyes are closed, and all of a sudden I just feel like a bloop. That's the best way I can describe it. And it was just like a release of pressure. It was a release of pain. Everything that I had been feeling up to this point was just over. So as soon as she came out, they put her on my chest, and she was very purple. She wasn't crying, and I'm just like in so much shock that I didn't even realize that she wasn't crying. So my grandma was just like, is she okay? Like, what's going on? Why is she not crying? They take her off me. Her dad goes over and he's like, is she okay? Like, what's going on? I passed the placenta. They start cleaning me up. I did have a 2nd-degree tear. So while they're like patting Lane on the back and like, suctioning her and just making sure that she starts crying, my doctor begins to sew me up. And I could just feel that. So in some of these pictures, you're going to see kind of like my face is like scrunched up, but that's because I was being sewn up. But I finally heard Lane cry. And so I just was like, oh my gosh, like that's all I needed to hear in that moment. Like everything else I was feeling, everything else I was experiencing was just like, I do not care what's going on. I don't care that you're literally sewing me up like a rag doll. Just bring me my baby. They bring her over to me. I immediately put her on my chest, still being stitched up. A little bit after that, they were showing me how to breastfeed. Literally, I think I have a picture of her breastfeeding like an hour later. Girl was hungry, okay? Girl was hungry. But my nurses were amazing. My nurses were outstanding. The bedside manner, the empathy, everything. They were just so involved in my process. They listened to me. They just did everything that I literally couldn't ask them to do, but like they kind of knew or like saw that I needed it. They just went above and beyond my entire stay. I will say that, except one lady, except one of my night nurses. She was a little mean. She's an older lady, but besides that, me and them nurses go together real bad, okay? After that, I did get moved to like my official room. I was in this little small room at the back of the hallway because y'all, why was it 15 other mommies on that floor? 15? So am I number 15 or am I number 16? Because that's crazy. So I gave birth on a Thursday. I got moved later that Thursday. Y'all, my sister was outside waiting in the parking lot. My sister was actually supposed to be in the room with me, but because I went into labor so early, I literally, texted her at like 4 in the morning. She drove all the way to the hospital. I lied to you not. My sister is a godsend. My sister is an angel. My sister was at the hospital in the parking lot at 6:46 a.m. I had Lane at 6:47. I had Lane at 6:47. If I could have swapped her out for my grandma, hands down, I would have. She was supposed to be there anyway, but it was just so much going on. I'm literally pushing as she's pulling up. And I don't think they would have let her in at that moment anyway. But y'all, she waited until visitor hours opened, and she knew that I didn't eat deli meat or they say you can't eat certain things while you're pregnant, no sushi, blah, blah, blah. So I decided not to eat like any deli meat. And if you know me, you know I love me a cold cut, okay? She was outside waiting until visitor hours open with a Subway sandwich for me. Clap it up for my sister Alexis, okay? She knew. And why was the total on like the receipt $9.15? My baby girl's birthday, okay? She came and visited me and like stayed with me and made sure everything was cool. Nurses in and out, pushing on your stomach, breastfeeding, blase. And I did end up staying for a total of 3 days. So I was there Thursday, I was there all day Friday, and then I was discharged to go home Saturday afternoon. On Friday, my brother came to visit me again with my sister. My dad came to visit me. I am so thankful that I had them there. I was pretty much alone besides them throughout the duration of my stay. On Friday evening, I guess a lot of the other moms were discharged, so I did end up getting upgraded to like this huge room, and I was super happy because going from that little tiny room at the end of the hallway where a lot of the time it felt like I was just forgotten about. This room was in the middle of the hallway. It was huge, and I was just so happy that I could actually like get up and kind of walk around. I could go to the bathroom. So I stayed in there Friday night, and then Saturday morning it really hit me. Oh crap. Mind you, you don't really sleep when you have a newborn. I feel like I didn't sleep in like 5 days, from like Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Now it's Saturday. I don't feel like I've really slept. So it really is just like a whirlwind of emotions. Your hormones are still going crazy. And it really hit me that like, I gotta take this human home with me. It's completely different when you go from having around the clock care to having visitors to having people that are like coaching you and helping you and encouraging you. Obviously, I'm a brand new mom. I am alone and I have one hand. Okay? This is hard. This is going to be hard. My doctor had left. I guess she had other women to deliver or other patients back at the office. And so I had a different doctor. But she came in, she saw me crying, and postpartum depression is real. Postpartum depression starts very quickly, and she could see that I was crying. So she ended up just sitting me down. She brought Lane her very first pacifier and ended up giving it to her so that she would quiet down and just, kind of rest a little bit, because I do think that Lane was starting to like cluster feed by the time we were leaving. So I was just kind of bouncing her back and forth. Like, my milk is not fully in, but like, here you go, let's trigger it. So she ended up putting Lane down for me because I was just holding her the entire time. I didn't know what to do. Like, I did not put that girl down ever. And she was just giving me words of affirmation and encouraging me, and like, she gave me, this number I can call, and she gave me the paperwork for like Lane's doctor and like my follow-up and like, the birth certificate and all that type of stuff like that. And she was kind of just walking me through it. And she was just so super nice. Around 12 o'clock, noon, I believe, I was discharged. I did have to wait for my grandma to come pick Lane and I up. She did have her car seat already in the car. I was just packing up our stuff to go, and the doctor was helping me and just still talking to me. They did bring me a wheelchair, and I got to ring the little bell. They just wheeled us out to the front of the building. I just had Lane's like car seat on top of my wheelchair, and we were off. We were going home. I got in the car, put her in the car. Lane was literally so tiny. I don't think I said her weight before, but she was 6 pounds and 15 ounces when she was born. And by her first appointment, which was, I want to say like 2 or 3 days after we got home, because we got home on a Saturday, I believe. She went to the doctor like the very first time, that like Tuesday or Wednesday. She was 6 pounds and 7 ounces. Then we were home, and I literally was just so in awe that I did that. Just trying to get the hang of breastfeeding. I even tried pumping for the first time. We did a lot of skin to skin, and I was just being a mother. Honestly, when I got home, I just couldn't stop crying. I wasn't where I physically wanted to be at. I obviously wanted to be, in my own space. It definitely took a toll on my mental, and just trying to worry about my body and this wound, and I'm healing, and trying to take care of myself and still worry about my baby and learning her, and I'm a new mom and us learning each other. It's a lot. It was a lot. So to any of my mommies out there expecting, please just give yourself grace. I pray that you have an amazing partner by your side who nurtures you and cares for you during this time, and who truly understands what you are about to go through. Ask for help. Don't be scared. Ask as many questions as you need to. Listen to your body. Also, stand firm on your birth plan. Stand firm on your birth plan. A lot of these doctors, a lot of these hospitals will try to change it to benefit them. Do what you want. You know your body. You know your strength. I serve a mighty God, and he got me through. With all of that being said, my birth story was a 10 out of 10 experience. Would I do it again? Absolutely. Hands down. If it meant that I could have my baby all over again, I would do it in a heartbeat. And I don't know if I want any more kids. Only time will tell. But Yes, I would do it again. 10 out of 10 experience, from the labor, from the pain, from the hospital, from actual birth. Yeah, amazing. The female body is amazing. With all of that being said, thank you guys for chit-chatting with me and getting ready. I absolutely love how my makeup turns out when I do it this way. Turn on your post notification bell so you know when I post that video, and all of the rest in the future. If you like today's video, chit chat, get ready with me, my birth story, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.